There we are. Chris, that's Chris. Chris has had a fish there. That must be close to 3 pound. Magic. Fucking magic. Let me see. Oh, yes, yes, Kenny. Look, look, look. Oh, Kenny, look, 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 it's taking line. It's on video. How are we doing, guys? Going to try and tie a mayfly pattern here for you this evening. It's my spin on an Iron Blu Mayfly. Hook that I'm using here this evening is hook-kamasan E175, size 12. Using white tying silk, white uni thread, size 80. Just tying down the shank of the hook here and touching turns. And at this stage now, what I'm going to do is tie in the tail of the fly. For the tail of this fly, we're going to use pheasant tail fibres. Cock pheasant tail fibres. A bunch of 5 or 6 is more than enough. Alright, and the length of the tail that you're looking for is at least twice the length of the hook. So somewhere around there, that's where I'd be aiming for. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pinch the pheasant tail fibres in my finger and my thumb, bring my tying silk up, pinch it between my finger and my thumb to form a loop, and pull it down tight. And just give it one extra turn, and then look at the tail, and then adjust it accordingly. So there we are. I'm happy enough with that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind back down the shank and lock that in. Come all the way down the full length that your body's going to be about there. Bring your scissors in and at an angle trim them off in a taper. Now you don't need to be too fussy about keeping the body nice and even in this fly, because the body's going to be dubbed. So it is, it's going to be dubbed. At this stage I'm going to catch on my rib for the fly, which is medium red wire. I'm just going to catch it in underneath. There we go. I'm going to pull the excess back so that it matches up with the cut ends of the pheasant tail, and then just tie that on all the way down, right up to your tight of the tail. At this stage, what I'm going to do is get my wax, apply a bit of wax to my thread, and now you can take your pick what you're going to use for the body of it. You could use Iron Blu dubbing, you could use a synthetic Iron Blu dubbing, or you can use rabbit or hares fur. Now in my opinion, because it's a mayfly pattern you're tying, I prefer to use the hare and the rabbit fur. So I do, for the simple reason being, it's because it matches the mayfly more closely. It's more, it imitates the natural fly a lot better. Now one thing I will say about this pattern is that you don't need to be fishing it in a loch that gets a mayfly hatch, because I've fished it over here in Scotland now for a few years on lochs that don't even see a mayfly, not one single one, and you still catch a lot of fish on it. And the reason being, guys, is because there's big hackles in this fly, there's a lot of movement in the fly, there's colour and contrast in the fly that trout love, and that's why you catch fish on it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Now, that's your body. The palmered hackle on this fly is just an Iron Blu cock hackle. So it is. So what I'm going to do is catch that on there on the side, lock it in, nice couple of really tight turns just to secure it and lock it in. There we go. I don't trim away the excess at this point, I like to leave it. So first 2 turns, as always, around the shoulder of the fly, 1, 2, there we go, and then work your way down the shank of the hook. So there's 1, there's 2, and so you're aiming for 3 at a max 4. There we go, that's 3 turns. Alright, bring your wire out, pull your hackle over the top of your wire, so your wire's coming underneath the excess of your hackle fibre, and then catch it in, and that's your hackle locked in. And then just wind your rib up the shank of the hook. 4 turns you're looking for, so there's 1, 2, there's your 3rd, and here comes my 4th. There we go. Now see at this stage is when I like to trim that excess off. There you go, get rid of it. That's it gone. Bring your wire rib up 90 degrees to the shank of the hook. Bring your tying silk over and catch it on. That's it, caught on. Any hackle fibres going forward, tease them back, and a couple of nice turns. There we go. Job's a good one. So far so good. Trim your excess away there. And what I like to do now, whenever you're winding your rib up, just in case you have caught any hackle fibres or that in, take your toothbrush there. Take a really and don't be easy with it. Be rough with it, because not only are you teasing the hackle fibres up, but see that hare's fur, what you're doing is you're pulling that out to you under the hackle. Gives the fly a much rougher, more natural appearing look. And as I said before, guys, I'm not here to tie picture perfect flies. We're here to tie flies that catch fish. That's the reason we tie flies. We tie flies to go fishing and catch fish, and that's what this fly's for. So there we go. Once you've done that, then the excess of your hackle at the back of the hook, come in, trims it. Just pull it tight, because your red wire rib is pulled tight. That'll just trim away. Give that a wee brush back with your toothbrush. There we go. Everything's sitting lovely, ready to go. Now, sorry, I just knocked the camera there. Let me just check that's not knocked that out of focus for you. Right, we're all good. We're all good. Right, in front of the Iron Blue, I like to put in a white genetic hen hackle. So I'm going to catch that in directly in front of the Iron Blue. Now, well, this all we're using is come right down the eye, build up the boost for your French partridge. At this stage you can trim that away. You know that's not going anywhere. Now whenever you're using this, you're only looking for 1.5 turns, 2 at a very, very max. So there's one, just over half of 1 turn. Going to give it 1 more. Pull that round. I'm going to bring my tying silk up at this stage. Catch that on. Oh. Yep. No, come back. Right. I'm just going to tease them fibres out that my tying silk is caught on. There we go. I'm going to just trim that away now. It's 1.5 to 2 turns max all the white. Tease all the fibres back. Build up your base for your final hackle. There. Yep. Let me see that. Just make sure that your hackle fibres are spread nice and evenly before you carry on, because if you carry on you can't fix it. This is the stage that you can fix it. Let me see what that looks like. Aye, not too bad at all. And now for our final hackle at the head, which is a natural French partridge hackle on the head of this fly. That's what's going on. So I'm just going to catch that in on the side, and then wind all the way down to your right. Nice tightly wrapped turns. You can trim away that excess there now. Now, French partridge, because of the nature of it and because it's a small feather, you don't get a lot of turns out of it. come on with your hackle pliers to the centre of the feather. You'll see the stalk running up the centre of the feather. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be, attaching your hackle pliers. And then, just as neatly as you can, wrap that round. You're only going to get 2 wraps out of this. And while you're doing it, just make sure you tease the French partridge hackles back. And you'll see how beautifully that French partridge feather flares. I love working with it. It's a great feather to work with. Don't get me wrong, sometimes when you're wrapping it you think it might look like a mess, but once you tie it off you can very easily fix that. That nearly went wrong there. There we go. So just now, before it does go wrong, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie that off. So that's one turn. Just give it an extra turn to be sure. Then come on with your scissors. Trim that excess away. Right, don't be worrying about it looking a mess. What I'm going to do is I'm going to separate all the French partridge fibres. Make sure that you've got a nice even flare all the way around the fly. Pull anything that's going forward of the eye backwards. And starting from the eye, start to build your head and wrap your way back. Now when you get to this stage, just check your French partridge hackle. Make sure that it's flaring properly and it's sitting the way you want it to sit. Don't get overly caught up on it, because when you're strapping this through the water's going to correct all these fibres anyway. The water's going to dress it all back for you. So don't get too caught up on it. Well, to me, that's good enough. What I'm doing now is I'm just building up the head. You want to build up a nice kind of circular head, almost as if you're creating a wee hot head on the fly. There we go. Once you get to that stage, let me see that. That looks good enough. There we are. As you can see, just flares the right way around. You can still the evidence of the red rub there underneath it, you see, and that does, believe you me, that catches the trite's eye. But we're ready to tie off and whip finish now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come on with my whip finish. 3 or 4 turns of whip finish, 2 coats of varnish, and that's the fly done. So it is. So just 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for good measure. There we are. Just come on with your scissors. Trim that excess away. And as I say, all you're doing after this is a couple of coats of varnish. So just a wee dab there on the top of the head, a wee dab on the side, a wee dab on that side, and then a wee dab at the bottom of the fly. Don't be worrying about following the eye with varnish, because you can always clean that out. Just make sure you don't get it on the hackles. So there we are. We let that dry, and then you just do the same thing again, and that's your fly complete, guys. And that's my spin on the Iron Blu Mayfly. So it is. Thanks very much for watching the video, folks. Remember, if you're liking what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Go on, watch the videos, leave comments in the videos, hit the thumbs up button for me. Any of your friends and that's interested in the fishing or did you do it along with, get them involved in the channel too, guys. It's not long now until the season starts, just maybe 8 or 9 weeks. So we'll be off and running in no time, and we'll have plenty more fishing videos and that again. But as I said, thanks very much for watching the video, folks, and until next time, tight lines.